This is the Dollemore Daily.
Hi, I'm Mike Greiner from the Democratic Activist channel, which we'll link to down below. And I'm still sitting in for Jesse while he completes his move from California to D.C. so he can better cover the Washington scene for all of us. We're looking forward to Jesse's return, but in the meantime, the news never stops, so let's talk politics. And the big news comes to us from Politico and Rachel Maddow, which revealed that Republicans in 5 states actually forged election documents that they then sent to the National Archives in an attempt to overturn the 2020 election. One of those states, by the way, is my home state here of Michigan. So as it turns out, I know at least one of the individuals who signed it, Stan Grott, who used to be the chair of the local Republican Party here in my home county. Other signatories include a co-chair of the Michigan GOP and a Republican National Committee member. So these are not some right-wing whack jobs who are out of the mainstream. These are actually major players in the Republican Party. And essentially what happens is they forged a document to look very much like the official state document designating who are the electors for president appointed by the state in the election. Not surprisingly, those electors were all Trump supporters in their list, which contrasted with the actual results from these states, which were all won, of course, by President Biden. These Republicans went to some trouble to actually make the documents look official, and in fact, in Arizona, they even used the state seal, which is limited to official communications from the government. And as a result, the Arizona Attorney General has been looking at possible charges against those individuals. The documents were sent in December to the National Archives, which gathers together these documents in the December after the presidential election called Certificates of Ascertainment, which are supposed to state who the electors are from each state for the Electoral College. These are the official documents then which are received by the House of Representatives and reviewed in that famed ceremony on January 6th that was interrupted by the invasion of the MAGA crowd. Now, I don't know the individuals who signed the Arizona document, but their leader made an interesting comment, which was that she was acting on the advice of Rudy Giuliani, of course, who we know as the president's lawyer. Now, as an attorney myself, I've got to tell you, I'm amazed that Rudy Giuliani still has his license to practice law. I mean, you as an attorney are not allowed to recommend that people take actions that are illegal, which is essentially what he did here. Committing a fraud on the United States is something that is illegal, and in Arizona, their decision to actually use the state seal was illegal as well. Now, Rolling Stone referred to this scheme as harebrained, but I think that it's worthy of note as a little bit scary, frankly. Again, these individuals who put this effort together were not some jokers who don't know what they're doing. In many cases, for example, Stan Grott here in Michigan, he is actually a county clerk here in Michigan. So he's actually empowered with administering the elections in one of the counties here. And yet he's willing to sign on to a document that's clearly a forgery and clearly lies about the results in the state. The truth of the matter is, we owe a great debt of gratitude to the National Archives, who paid close attention to these documents and were able to spot them as forgeries and notify the secretaries of state for each of the states about this parent scheme. What's more is we have full knowledge of what occurred in Arizona and Michigan because, of course, there we have Democratic secretaries of state. Now, this just once again shows the levels to which the MAGA crowd are willing to go to win the elections. They do not care about democracy. They do not care about the will of the people. They care about winning. Period. End of story. And this is not some isolated group. This is actually the leadership of the party at this point, which is really disturbing. What's more is this just points to the necessity of us making sure that these MAGA Republicans do not gain control of the machinery of elections in the United States. They have made it very clear with this effort that they are not to be trusted with something as important here in the United States as managing elections. Now, apparently, the January 6th Commission has obtained copies of these documents and is reviewing them. And what's more, the commission has already interviewed the Michigan and Arizona secretaries of state. Here in Michigan, I can tell you, our Secretary of State is actually a respected election lawyer who actually was, for a time, the dean of the law school from which I graduated. She takes compliance with the law very seriously, and my guess is that she'll work closely with the Democratic Attorney General here in Michigan to try to make sure that a legal regime exists that makes sure this does not happen again. The problem is, I kind of feel like, as Democrats, we're busy putting our fingers into a dike trying to stop the overwhelming flow of water. And by water, I'm referring to efforts to overturn the democratic process. Unfortunately, we live in a country now where it appears that only one party cares about democracy anymore, and the other party is willing to debase itself to even lie, cheat, and steal and engage in forgery in an effort to deny the will of the people. And anyone concerned about democracy, whether you're a big D Democrat or a big D Republican, or an independent for that matter, should be seriously concerned about it. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And if you could check out my channel, Democratic Activist, we'll also link to that down below. And I'd like to shout out especially the Jesse fans who've come over and checked out my channel already. I really appreciate it. Everyone's welcome here. We all talk about the same issues and the same perspective. So I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.